My favorite part of that is when he says that, and then it just shows the recipe of something completely obvious. Like, oh, you discovered the sandwich, did you? Good job, Ignis. Thanks, buddy. Couldn't have done it without you.
Cup noodles.
No, I mean he can do something with some cup noodles, but that's part of the whole story. Is never mind. I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to spoil the cup noodle side quests.
No, I'm not talking about the cup noodle side quest. I'm talking about other stuff in that game.
All right. So you have all discovered then that some children have been going off to play during the week, and they've been playing a story game with the dead boy just out beyond the woods, out beyond the old graveyard.
It's not the dead boy's fault, and Evie and Eugenia, if either of you yell at Tenny about this, we're going to have some serious problems.
Didn't you threaten to kill like 6 people?
Well, we didn't find evidence they actually did anything, so we can't justify killing them.
Didn't you want to kill Tenny?
No.
And he kind of had it coming. He tried to kill us more than once.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you guys are telling me is that the dead boy is, whether he's aware of it or not, is drawing life force from the children in the town. And it felt like to you that it was actually coming from far away.
The dead boy is unintentionally siphoning energy
Perpetuating this.
from people that play the story game.
It sounds to me like he is he probably is not aware of what he's doing. It sounds to me like someone is doing it through him. And you say that this was taking place near a really old tree.
Uh-huh. My thoughts exactly. Now, the one thing that we might want to look at is the last story that was told was about this village before it collapsed, and so if we research the history of this village prior to our taking over, we may get some clues about who they pissed off.
You guys have already tried that, and you have fewer resources now in the dead of winter than you did then.
Yeah, I don't think we have any resources to look into that while we're here. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
When we got here, this place was gutted.
Well, what we
only
can do is we could ask the villagers if they've heard of Godovka, because
No,
in
none
the
of them
story,
have. If you pass
No.
around the word Godovka, no hits.
okay, but we need to find out who the dead kid hangs out with when he's not hanging out with Tenny.
Okay, so
what's
yeah,
Edmund's
because
thought?
Regrettably, the only people who might have an idea of that would be the Celtistravi, and I don't know how much they're willing to put forward information.
Their
Arcadius
take
will
when
tell
you
us
asked them
anything.
about it previously, they know that from time to time settlers come and take up possession of various villages in the area. They never last very long by their reckoning. And the Celtistravi have only seldomly been directly responsible for these villages failing. But they've seen generations of such villages come and go.
Did we
weren't
get
record
any
keepers.
indication that the kid just hangs out there all day, or like, do we think he moves around when he's not talking to the other kids? Like, what was did I get any sort of a read on that?
You've never seen him outside of that general vicinity. There's an old graveyard out beyond... Well, when you guys arrived here, there wasn't a stream yet, but out beyond the stream bed. And then in that same general area is where the kids have been playing. And then today, when you played the story game, there was a large stone next to one of the oldest trees in the wood. Not a dead tree, but a very, very old tree.
So we should probably just go. We told him we'd be back to play the story game again and to talk to him. So why don't we go talk to him and find out what he does when he's not playing with Tenny?
There is a definite convergence of very suspicious things regarding a guy we already know that is involved with dead things and stealing life force in trees. Now, here's the thing. I was willing to let the dead boy hang around because he wasn't hurting anyone. Now, whether he's doing it on purpose or not, he's starting to hurt the children, so we have to come up with a solution for this, because
We're not killing the dead boy.
I don't want to kill him, but he's dead. He doesn't belong here. We need to figure out a way to get him to where he belongs. And I had a thought about that, too, because I remember the last time that he was coming up, he was visiting his mother's grave at the nearby cemetery. And I'm wondering, because we have the power to speak with dead, if we couldn't ask the boy's mother how to help him. Now, the problem-
You do understand that you're
Close,
talking
wouldn't we?
about effectively grave robbing, right?
Well, that's definitely a consideration. I'm about to say, defiling a grave, not a great look. But if we talk to the boy about it and say, we would like to talk to your mother, then he could give us permission, I guess.
The thing is, though, is that like there is
A
no
ghost
grave.
isn't going to be able to do something like that.
There also isn't a grave. Like he's going to the spot where the grave was, but we looked, we investigated that. Like whatever was there, it was so long ago. Everything's gone,
At this
unless
point,
I'm mistaken.
When I say old graveyard, like there's not actually a cemetery with headstones and everything.
Yeah.
There was a place where he was treating as a graveyard because he knew people that were interred there. But it seems to have been so ancient, any stones in the area are just incidental. They're probably not headstones. Yes, Treble's correct.
I'm also thinking that any bodies that have been buried there have been appropriated by our very old friend. Because that would seem to be his thing back in the day. He would steal the bodies of the dead.
well, right now, why don't we just go talk to the dead kid and find out what he knows?
I mean, my assumption at this point is that it's, yeah, I mean, look, as the expert here on both exorcism and disease, what we actually need to do in this situation is to, put the boy's soul at rest so that this stops happening.
That's going to make Tenny mad at us, but it's what we have to do.
Kenny is not necessarily going to know that we let the kid go. Like, if her friend stopped showing up, we can tell her that he was a ghost and he went on to do ghost things.
If you kill Pobo against his will, I will absolutely tell Tinny what you did.
He's already dead. You can't.
We need to talk to him. That's what we need to do.
So
Why don't we go find out what Pobo wants and find out more about where he comes from?
Because I really don't think he's doing this on purpose, and if he knew what was happening, I don't think he would keep doing it. He doesn't seem like a bad kid.
He might still keep doing it because sometimes a ghost can be compelled to do things
Well, yeah, that's the
beyond
problem.
what they would choose to do, but yeah.
Well,
I
then
agree
it's
otherwise.
cool. We'll suggest or we'll tell him that he can no longer play the story game because it's making them sick.
Well, if this is the work of the oldest who has dominion over the dead, the boy may not be able to stop himself. He may be manipulated somehow.
Instead of making assumptions, let's just go talk to Poba.
I want somebody else to give me a history or nature check. Yes, anybody but Evie.
I could roll nature, I think.
I've got a history of
No, I
plus
can't. Never
7.
mind.
I got a +3 on history.
And-
All-
And all four of you can make this check individually if you want.
Okay. Cool. That's great. History. Weep. That's a.
So history is
That's
17.
23.
That's it. I've come up with a new history. Sorry.
So Evie floats
It's a
the idea
14.
of the oldest, and after some discussion, the rest of you don't think this is likely, because the oldest was working through a particular kind of vine and thorn that was growing over miles and miles, leading back to a particular place. And there's no such reports here
Okay, so he
Fair
can't
enough.
just act through trees.
of those vines. His influence, he has, for reasons unbeknownst to you, have been pulled back from the village. And while he's probably still out there and is probably still a threat in some sense, this doesn't have his stink on it.
God damn it, Evie, you pissed off his boss.
Well, it's somebody who works through similar methods, maybe.
Well, we don't know who can communicate. Lots of people can communicate with dead people here.
So just to, because I actually had to reboot my computer, so I missed the tail end of that, the initial discussion. So we have a ghost boy, and he's a ghost, not a zombie.
He does seem to have a physical form to him.
Okay,
He's a dead boy.
He's a dead boy. We have him. He's living in a shack. There is a spooky tree next to the shack.
Well, there's not a shack. He's just out in the wilderness. He claims to be visiting the grave of his mother, that there's not actually a cemetery out there, and some of the children are now playing the story game with him.
Oh, okay. All right. So, but there's a spooky tree at the spot where this cemetery is, right?
There's a spooky stone too, right?
And like the
There's a
stone is
large
from the
stone
base
and
of
a
the tree.
very old tree standing next to each other where they were playing this game.
Okay. I think that I need to investigate this tree and stone and look for.
We
Like-
could try and break the stone and cut down the tree.
I mean, we can investigate it first.
Yes.
Okay, are all 6 of you going out there? And we're going to investigate the tree. We're not going to necessarily speak with Poba. Is that correct?
I am not
Victor's-
speaking with Popa.
Okay.
Victor will speak
Yeah.
to Pova.
So all 6 of you are going out there together?
Yeah, we'll all go out there and then we'll see what's there.
Okay.
You guys want to invite Tinny?
No.
She doesn't even have a class level yet.
You don't bring her to dungeons. She's even weaker than Orson was when he was hanging out with us as like a level 1 nobody.
To be fair, we got really far with that NPC helper buddy in the final dungeon of the last campaign. I don't even know how.
Approaching Poba as a group, or approaching the area, he's very shy, and you can tell that he's less forthcoming around adults than around children. But again, he's very polite. He knows his manners. He seems to realize that you are all adults and that you're in charge here. So any questions that you ask him, he answers diligently, but his knowledge is not very great. He doesn't have a lot of memory from his previous life. In fact, by the time you come back to speak to him, even the name of the village, even if you were to ask if he's from Godovka, he doesn't have much recollection of it. He seems to remember he told the name of Godovka may have come up last time he played the story game, but he has no recollection of it being the name of a place where he or anyone else lived.
So Victor will make the suggestion that he and Poba play the story game while they look at the tree and the stone.
So who's investigating the stone and the tree, and who's playing the story game?
Genie's on tree and stone.
Yeah, me too.
Edmont can play the story game as well. My investigation's not the greatest.
Victor's thinking after seeing the magic of the story game is that maybe this magic will go be with the tree and the stone and kind of light them up while they're playing the game that they may not otherwise see.
So Genie and Edmont are investigating
Ekon.
an Ekon. So Edmont is playing the game,
Edmont is playing the game, yes.
and what is Evie doing?
Evie is just going to observe and see if she can figure out what's going on, even though she has basically no actual magical knowledge.
And what is Orson doing?
I think Orson's going
Orson's
to be
good.
observing too.
Observing.
Standing at the side, wishing he was at the brothel.
He's going to investigate the stone and the tree, going, wow, this tree looks like it'd be really good in the brothel.
As Genie and Ekon, as you guys are advancing towards the stone and the tree and investigating, the boy begins playing the game. He tells you that sometimes the game goes differently at night, and he usually doesn't like to play it after the sun goes down, because sometimes the stories aren't as nice. But if you're insistent, he will play.
Victor is insistent.
What are we doing with saving throws? Are you two going to try to make your charisma save?
No, I'm going to willingly fail this one.
Yeah, Victor's going to fail this one.
Ekon and Genie, I'd like you both to give me investigation check. If you're trained in both investigation and nature, make it at advantage. But make it individually.
Investigation. You said nature?
If you're trained in nature and investigation, you can make your investigation check at advantage.
I am not.
It's a 23 for Ekon.
That is a 23 for Genie.
All right. And 2 failed saves on the story.
High number.
Evie and Orson both notice over the course of the story game, as Poba begins the story and then passes the stone to Victor and then to Edmont, You notice that the boy is very distracted. He's paying half attention to the story and half of his attention to Jeannie and Ekon, who are going over the stone and the tree and turning over dirt and brushing away snow and pulling down loose twigs. And as they're going through their investigation, he seems very aware of what they're doing. Like, his attention is split. The three of you playing the game, you feel like the story is coherent as it's being told. However, Evie, it's anything but. You're trained in Arcana, yes?
No.
No? Okay. Well, then, I mean, you had Victor and Ekon explain to you earlier that you think some magic was being woven here, and you think you can see what they're talking about. It's not a coherent story. But by the time the third person, Edmont, gets the stone, all he says, his only contribution, is this phrase. Actually, I'm sorry. The phrase is in a foreign language. You have no idea what Edmont says. He's just speaking in tongues.
Can I cast Comprehend Language? Or does it...
Make an insight check. If you beat an insight check, we'll say DC 16.
My insight's pretty good. I might beat that.
Because you have to notice that... No good?
What is
Oh, Orson was standing around watching, right?
Orson's standing there. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Orson has house spellcasting. He can cast Comprehend Languages when that happens.
Yeah, but he's an NPC, so...
Okay.
Would a +4 give you that?
Well, you're not able to help.
Oh, okay.
You're investigating a stone.
It wouldn't help.
So, Evie, you didn't beat a 16?
No, I rolled a 3, and
Okay.
even though I have a +8 on insight, that's not 16.
The first two parts of the story, so Poba's part and then Victor's part, were both in Darkanese. Didn't make much linear sense to you as a coherent story. Edmont's part, by the time you realize he was speaking in tongues, it's too late to cast the spell. Cannot be cast retroactively. Investigation checks. You guys obviously had not exhumed what you knew to be an old graveyard when you got here. As my recollection is, you were going to, if there were people interred there, you weren't going to turn the earth over. That said, some preliminary soundings were done in the area, just as you were getting your bearings and getting your surroundings. And from those investigations, you're almost certain this stone was not here when you first moved in. You couldn't swear to it. Edmont didn't literally sketch every square inch of the village and what was there. But not only does this stone not appear to have been here, it also doesn't appear to be the same kind of stone as the surrounding rock formations. The bedrock of the area has a different geological makeup.
When Edmund is done telling his part of the story, I'm going to ask him what he thought he was saying.
And Edmund, you have no recollection. It's like coming out of... It feels like coming out of a dizzy spell. Almost. Like feeling very faint for a few moments. And you don't remember what you were just talking about.
And I'm going to tell him, you said something that I think was in a different language than Darkanese.
And Poba looks at the ground and he says, I told you the game doesn't work as well. At night, the stories aren't as nice.
Does Victor have any recollection of the story?
No.
Oh, it's okay, Poba. We still had fun, right, Edmont? Victor will look at Edmont with a very sort of confused, concerned look.
If it's okay, I don't think I want to play anymore tonight.
Oh no, that's
Does not
fine.
Respond favorably, but he doesn't. He doesn't actually say anything.
So, questions. So the rock specifically was not there, right?
This is a very large stone.
Mhm.
And again, you couldn't swear to this, but you're pretty sure this stone was not here when you moved into the village.
So, did anything happen to the stone in the tree while we were playing the story game?
Nope.
If I start looking around, does it look like there's any way to like dig under the stone or anything like that?
It could be moved with the correct equipment. It looks ancient, but yeah, it's just this huge boulder sitting next to this tree. It could be rolled aside or broken down, or
You could rock shape the ground under it and make it fall.
I don't think we want to do that if this is a cemetery.
So Victor will ask Poba if he knows about the tree and the stone and what he might be able to tell them.
I'm feeling very tired. Can we play again tomorrow?
Yes, yeah, we don't need to play anymore. I was just wondering if you could tell us about the stone. Do you know? Has that stone always been there? That tree?
And he indicates that they're just a stone and a tree. He doesn't see anything particularly noteworthy about them.
You see,
Can we
very
escort you
distracted.
home to rest?
And he shakes his head, says, "That's very kind, but I know the way." And he turns to leave, and he steps behind the stone, out of sight.
Victor will step around, see if he's still there.
And looking back, and he is not.
Is the stone magical at all?
No, just a stone.
And there's no obvious holes or anything.
Just,
I can all try just stepping through the space as if the same way the boy went.
you can walk around the stone in both directions. You just leave trails in the snow.
Victor is going to do something stupid. And he's
Can't
gonna
wait for this.
he's gonna pull out one of his daggers, his normal daggers,
Okay?
and he's gonna look at the tree and he's gonna look at Ekon and say, "Last time I did this, didn't go so well. Let's see what happens now." And he'll start pushing his dagger into the tree after giving warning for everybody else to step back.
I mean, yeah, you can scrape bark away from the tree, or you can carve something into it. It's just a tree.
Okay, it doesn't like lash out.
No, it doesn't. The tree does not object.
It's Ravenloft. We have to check.
It's a
Sometimes
fair
the trees do
question,
object.
yes. Sometimes they do.
Does the tree have any markings on it? Like, has anybody else carved anything into it?
Not from what you can tell, no.
Now, this does not look like one of the silver trees or any. Does it look different from the other kinds of trees that we know exist in this area?
Only in the sense that it looks much older, which means it's larger, it probably has a bigger root system, its branches spread further. This tree has been described to you by Tenny many times, and this is probably one of her favorite spots in the woods.
I guess Victor's going to start
Genie?
climbing.
Can you cast Identify on the rock?
I mean, yeah. I'll spend 10 minutes to do that.
What is identical? So if climbing up into the tree is difficult just because it's the dead of winter and your fingers
That's fine.
are frozen.
Victor's he's out of ideas. He's going to climb the tree while they cast Identify.
You climb up.
I
into
don't
the
think
tree.
Identify will do anything, but I don't mind spending the 10 minutes.
Yeah, if it's not a magic item, it doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do
as
we
far as
have
you can
any
tell,
way to
it's a normal rock?
see if there is... After a few minutes, Jeannie's going to start, like, stomping the ground to see if there's any, like, hollow noises. You know, like, I'm doing the proverbial Zelda thing where I ting my sword up against the wall.
I mean, if you you start stomping the ground, but it's just the earth.
All right.
Is anything buried under the ground?
We have no way of knowing without digging everything up.
Well, start the dig. So
I mean, because if there is if there was a cemetery here, there could be catacombs.
So
the
as
main
to that,
reason-
if there were catacombs in the area, you would have seen evidence over the course of years. I mean, you guys have existed here. This is one of the first things you would, especially as ruins chasers from another world.
Yeah.
You would be aware of any large subterranean area, especially this close to the village.
So the reason that Victor wants to climb the tree is to see if, looking from a height, if anything on the ground looks different or out of place.
It's the middle of the night and it's snowing. So if you climb up
Okay.
into the tree, you probably won't be able to see the ground very well.
Anybody else have any ideas?
Start digging around the stone.
Okay, Orson, let's get some levers.
So you want to roll this stone aside?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think that's our only lead at the moment.
Can we dig around the stone before we move it?
You can dig into the snow and down to the earth, but yeah, with a little bit of leverage, you can just roll this stone over onto its side with no difficulty.
Just a round rock sitting on top of the dirt.
It's his house. You're gonna roll his house over. He's gonna wake up and go, "What's going on? It's an earthquake."
I mean, the stone looks ancient. It looks like it's just been sitting here for centuries. It's a
Except it
different
hasn't
kind
been.
of stone. Yeah, Orson and a couple of you guys, with some leverage and heave-ho, you managed to crack the frozen earth in front of it so it can break aside. And yeah, it tips over to the side, revealing a very small hole leading into a dark space in the earth. And lowering a light down, you can see that the earth around the hole could be excavated into maybe a 10-foot square, maybe not quite that large. And that there are stairs leading down and away from the village, leading into a catacomb that could not have been here all year.
Okay.
Somebody make
So-
me... I'll have one of you make me just a standard wisdom check. You can make this at advantage because all of you can be assisting with this, more or less.
I think
Ekon?
Ekon's the best for that. Although, a couple of us have okay wisdom.
Let's say wisdom of 24.
Obviously, you guys have not excavated the whole area, but the idea that there is a subterranean area, a crypt or a catacomb or anything under the village doesn't strike you as possible. And you recall something you were told about the land of Darkhan soon after you arrived here, that the ruins in Darkhan are very young, while the people and the land alone are old.
Are old.
It still doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, Ekon's done a whole bunch of stone shapes in the basement of the manor and the
I mean,
But
this is the same
keep
thing.
in
as
the
what-
church, so like there's nothing immediately below there.
Nope.
So listen, guys, we all know how this is going to go. So let's just go down the stairs. Can you make the hole a little bigger, Ekon?
I mean, we could just do that with
Yeah,
shovels.
it's just,
I'm
just
not-
snow and earth.
Mm-hmm.
I would warn you that I'm not particularly prepped for combat today. That said, yeah,
You
Ekon
want-
can
you-
absolutely.
You want to come back tomorrow?
What if it's not
No,
here
I've
tomorrow?
got most of my resources. I'm just letting you know. Blowing things up is at Air's minimum, which is still a lot.
It's just
Well-
without everybody else.
No, this is like feeding into like Evie's paranoia. Like when we were out wandering in the wilderness, we ran into that castle that as soon as we left, it disappeared. Like someone put it there just to screw with us.
So the intelligent dungeon delver in me says that we should go prepare. On the other hand, you are right about the temporal nature of these things.
Yeah.
So how's everybody on resources? Like, is everybody ready to do an impromptu
If-
dungeon dive?
If we were gonna prepare, what would that entail? Is there any reason that we're not ready to go now? Evie has everything she needs, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always ready to
Edmont's
bear.
ready.
I could always ask Air for a few different spells, but I think generally I'm fine.
So we're going down tonight?
Yep.
Yeah.
What are our light
Yeah, I-
sources going down?
Let me see.
Lantern?
What do I have?
Right,
I
but
don't even
who's
have-
carrying a lantern if you have one?
Both Ekon and Orson have continual flame objects.
I have a
Ekon has his diamond, and Orson has a necklace or something.
Okay.
Jeannie pulls out a dagger and she taps it a couple times and it bursts into flame because it's a +1 radiant weapon
Gross.
that she gets from her infusion.
Does it just
That
deal
actually
radiant
said light?
damage, or is it actually a light source?
It is actually a light source,
Gotcha.
so it doesn't do radiant damage. It's a +1. So what it is when I get hit, I can use my reaction to blind somebody.
Okay.
That's why it's radiant, and it can be used as a light source.
That's
I
pretty
think
cool.
it's 30 feet. Hold on.
Does anyone else need light?
Evie has a familiar with dark vision, whose senses she can share. So she can't see in the
use some
dark,
light.
but she has a familiar on her shoulder that can.
Edmont can use light.
The stairs initially lead down away from the direction of the village, so kind of down underneath where the root structure of this tree would be. And they double back on themselves twice. So you start out heading, say, northeast or whatever, and you double back once to a landing and then once to another landing. So when you get down to the base of the stairs to the bottom, you're still facing northeast, thereabouts. And you find yourselves here.
got 30 bright, 30 dim. That's what I got.
Edmont, I can cast the light cantrip on one of your objects that'll shine like a torch.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't have an Orson on this map.
Oh
Hold
no.
on. Hold on. I can fix this. Let me save this map.
Oh.
Go back to this one. Grab this Orson.
Schrodinger's Orson.
Schrodinger's Orson. I thought I had him on my main map. I didn't. There's an Orson. And these are 5-foot squares, but you're probably going to have to be shrunk a little bit.
Edmont has
Oh, the Lens of Truth doesn't work anymore. Okay.
Yes.
Victor will be detecting for traps as he goes.
Well, yeah, it's part of what moving through a dungeon entails. What's Victor's passive perception is the question. All
Sorry,
right,
16.
Jeannie, you're taking up point, coming down these stairs.
Yes.
You come down to the landing. It is utterly dark and dreadfully cold. It was already, dead of winter, but as you go down into the earth, it gets colder and colder. Colder here than it would be in the cellars or in Edmont's werewolf cell. And you enter what can only be described as a crypt. Very narrow, tight corridors that stretch away from you in several different directions.
So again, I got 30 feet of bright, 30 feet of dim.
Okay, so yeah, you can see all the way to the end of the hallway here. Off to your right and left, you can see down in front of you here. Off to your right and left, around the corners, you can see earthen openings with what look like iron bars here and here. You don't see any internments in the walls where you are. These are all stone walls. And very narrow, actually. Not more than 10 feet overhead as you enter.
Well,
Jeannie steps to the side, she sighs and says, "All right," and then she summons her protector turret.
Brickhead's favorite.
Everybody come in close for our family huddle.
Is this
That's
stonework?
actually going to be difficult in this area.
Yes, this is worked stone. It's not earth. Looking...
I mean, you can share a space with someone outside of combat and just squeeze.
I mean, if you just, it's 10 feet away, so like, this is good enough, literally. Like, when you guys discuss it, I'll roll the 10 hit points.
Yeah, go ahead and determine your temp HP first.
I mean, I'm just gonna stand here and pulse it. Oh, there's 12 after 3 pulses.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm assuming that's what you were doing. All right, and what's next?
let's go on the outside first, I think. Would I agree?
Yeah, that sounds fine. You're the expert.
Victor. Coming around the corner and looking down, you see that the hallway does continue, and you can see these earthen cells on the right-hand wall. Looking into the first one, what separates you from the cell beyond is a set of iron bars that look like they're frozen in place. What is your passive perception?
16.
16? It doesn't take more than a minute. And you've got a light source at your back, right? Because Edmont is carrying something.
Yeah, I had my brother light up my signet ring.
Okay. So yeah, you have a light source, and you can see there's a hidden catch on the inside wall, which if used properly, should cause the bars to detract, granting entrance in and out of the cell. The problem is the iron bars are frozen in place. The earth that they're pierced down into is frozen solid, just like the earth above. Peering into the back of the cell, you see internments along the 3 walls, places where bodies would be laid to rest. They are empty. However, you do see a body just laying on the floor in the back of the crypt. And it's a body in rotting clothes, not a pile of bones, which is what you would expect.
Fellas, do we want to open the door, or do we just want to throw something at the body and see if it moves?
I mean, we could send a familiar in there, or we could...
Recently deceased or
No.
older?
I mean, it's
hold on a moment.
What he's asking, I think, is gooey, yes or no?
you're not smelling decomposition, but it's definitely a corpse.
Okay.
More information than that, you're going to have to get a closer look.
Ekon is going to cast Detect Poison and Disease, which is a concentration spell that lasts for 10 minutes. That does the standard divination thing of having a 30-foot cone that's blocked by an inch of, a foot of stone, inch of common metal, thin sheet of lead.
Okay.
And he's just going to do a quick scan around the area.
The corpse is poisonous in the sense that any rotting corpse would be poisonous, but nothing pings as being especially dangerous or diseased. As long as you take care not to ingest the fluids of this body.
You turn and look at Evie, and she lights up like a Christmas tree.
Yep.
Evie's carrying a lot of poison.
Victor's going to throw a psionic dagger at this corpse.
Just fling it into the cell.
Yeah.
Okay, and the corpse is disturbed for a moment from the force of the dagger impacting it. And then it continues to lay still.
Okay.
I could probably thaw the ice out if you want me to spend some time doing that.
I mean,
I think if we just, Edmont, if you just give me your ring and let me stand so the shadows fall, I think you can just go right in and out of this, or can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I can move from...
I'll take his
move
ring
from
and just
shadow
hold
to
it so that it's
shadow.
only casting shadow into the cell.
Okay. So it's very dark when Edmont slips into the cell. I'll believe that he's done it when he actually places his piece in there.
Yep.
So slipping into the cell, you don't have to actually move through the intervening bars. It works like a teleportation kind of thing, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the bars are too narrow to squeeze through for any of you. Inside the cell, there's the crunch of your boots on the frozen earth. It's not stone work in here. The back corners of the cell have bracing columns that at one point might have been used to keep the earth from caving in, but it doesn't look like there's any danger of that now. Yeah, the corpse just lays in the back of the room, this pile underneath ancient rotting cloth.
Reach through the bars to take my light source back.
Okay. Yeah, you cast into the room, and this body... are you trained in medicine?
No.
Okay. It's a dead body.
Can you pull it? Do you think
Yeah.
it would hold up if you pulled it closer to the bars for Ekon to investigate?
Probably not,
I mean,
but...
I'm assuming it's going to be frozen solid?
Yeah.
Just give it a tug.
It did move slightly when Victor threw his magic dagger at it, but no more than you would expect throwing a dagger at a body to. Like if you threw a dagger at a corpse, you would expect it to shudder in the moment of impact. That does, however, suggest that it's not frozen.
Edmund, be careful. Maybe it's heat sensitive.
Yeah, it's if it's not frozen. Okay.
This is our second ice dungeon.
You don't have to do with the ice physics.
I Am Setsuna had like 40 ice dungeons. What's your point?
I'll only accept that as a comparison if you just start playing the piano.
Yeah, I don't have any options to move this corpse without actually touching it. So
No, you'd have to
my
grab
only
it.
option would be to
I
to
can
reach
use it
down
his
to
mage
take it.
hand.
It's not strong enough
That's
to carry
10 pounds.
anything. Yeah. Yeah. go and try to draw the corpse back toward Ekon to let him take a better look at it.
So you reach down to get a hold of this corpse, and I'm just going to assume you're wearing thick gloves because it's dead of winter and you don't want your fingers to fall
Yep.
off from frostbite.
Yep.
You're not trained in medicine, but you don't have to be. When you lean down and you grab this thing underneath where its wrist should be, and you're thinking, even if the body is badly rotted, like it's still got bone structure. Except it doesn't. Your hand mushes around the thing's wrist, and there's nothing solid inside. Just the light crunch of the thing's cloth. And like right at its wrist, it just bends freely as though it's empty skin. And then you hear it make a hollow sound. And then similar sounds begin to echo all around the crypts through all of the halls. And now is an excellent time to roll initiative.
Yeah, figured as much.
Oh, I don't have any dice.
That's not good.
Oh,
Evie's at 15.
I rolled a 1.
I'm at 9. I'm going to roll
Okay.
for some. Orson's at 5.
That is a lot of guys.
I wonder if that'll be enough.
probably it'd be fine.
We'll just book outside and just kill him as he goes upstairs.
Bodies are flammable. It's fine.
Okay. And who's up first?
First up, we have Evie with Ekon on deck.
So, Evie, you saw Edmont kneel down and grab this thing to try to pull the body. And you heard that low, raspy moan coming from the thing. And you're watching as it starts to move under its own power. And you hear a collection of echoey moans from all over the crypts in all directions. The nearest coming from beyond these bars just to your south. You're up first.
Are these boneless a-holes going to squeeze through the bars?
That seems likely.
Hey,
You know
how
what?
many ones?
Okay, this is the only one we can see, but I hear one coming from here.
You hear them coming from everywhere.
Okay, but there is one here that I can hear as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to ready in action, and if an enemy gets into melee range with me, I'm going to attack it with my dagger.
Okay. But you're staying put there?
Yes.
All right. Who's next?
Got Ekon with Edmont on deck. Ekon is going to hold out his holy symbol and cast Sacred Flame at this. So I'm going to need a DC 15 Dexterity saving throw from the creature.
I have 20.
Okay, so no effect. Ekon moves back to allow both the ring. He moves back so that the light source on his neck is only casting shadow into the chamber beyond.
So the idea being you want Edmont to have shadow
Wanna-
to be able to...
Yeah, I actually probably want to move to here so that
Yeah.
say this space and this
He's
space are
trying to give me
shadowing.
back.
As
hidden
long
light.
as Victor and Evie are not actively holding light sources, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, Victor's not.
I think it's just Genie and...
In fact, can we make little tokens for our light sources so I can see at a glance who's carrying
Genie,
them?
Ekon, and Orson all have light sources.
Is that the end of Ekon's turn?
Yes. Next up is Edmont with Vincent on deck.
So yeah,
It's
Edmont,
Vincent.
you've got this pile of dead person moaning in front of you.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm gonna disengage,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pop out back over here in the darkness.
It's not 20 feet of bright light, is it, Ekon? Your light?
It's a continual flame.
Is that 20
But
feet?
I moved.
If it's 20 feet
The
of
idea
bright...
was I would move so that the shadows would be blocked by that corner.
Okay. So I'll say, Edmont, you can shadow step to this square, but not this one.
Okay, that's fine.
There you go.
And
Continual flame is equivalent to a torch, which I believe is 20 feet of bright light.
Yeah, 20 and 20.
move over here.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Who's next?
Sorry, next up is Victor with black token on deck.
Okay, there we go.
So Victor is going to start off by flinging a psionic dagger at this thing.
Okay.
I'm guessing a 9 is not a hit.
9 does not hit.
And then, cursing like the big boy he is, he's going to move back.
All right. And it's black tokens.
Black token with Orson on deck, yep.
Oh, he's moving all the way back.
He's seen what happens in corridors.
Okay. That's going to trigger Evie's held action as the one that Edmont was manhandling effortlessly squeezes through the bars. It shambles along the ground, and it looks very unnerving because it moves like you would expect a person to look if they were like, if they had great muscle pain, like with great difficulty. But there's an unnatural gait because their arms can move in both directions and their legs don't need to bend a particular way.
Gross.
And it has no
Gonna have
difficulty
nightmares.
at all squeezing through the bars, for the thing has no bones.
All right. Well, I rolled a 16 to hit him.
That will hit.
All right. At the end of the train session a million years ago, I applied a radiant salt to my weapon that had never got expended. So this is, if this creature takes additional damage from radiant damage, then that is going to get applied here.
Just been keeping that dagger in your pocket the whole time.
I mean, we haven't fought anything since then. I assume she hasn't stabbed any of her family members during any of their many
Is that
disagreements.
is that a safe assumption?
She's got special
Oh.
daggers for
She's got other
stabbing.
family stabbing daggers.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, if that salt didn't get used up, it's still applied. There's not a time limit on it as far as I know.
All right, so then it is going to take 13 points of radiant damage.
Okay. And it is bloodied.
And if it's weak to radiant, I don't know if it is, but it would take double, I guess.
If it was vulnerable.
Okay.
Then the other one you heard behind you will also shamble out of its cell. A third one from further south. A fourth one from around this corner back here.
Now, see, I made the mistake of assuming that you guys were going to deal with this one in the cell. But this is the price for my hubris.
Don't worry, it'll be fine.
And Victor, you can see one coming up around the corner behind you in the direction you are retreating to. Evie, let's go ahead and try to kill you.
Won't be too hard.
All right, I have a 19 to hit
Yes.
and an 18 to hit.
Yes.
All right, let's resolve this first because this gets silly.
I'm sure it does.
Does Evie lose her bones?
All your bones are gone. 5 points of bludgeoning damage from the first slam.
Uh-huh.
7 points from the second slam.
There goes my temp hit points.
So as the second one hits, the thing whaps you with its more force than you would imagine would come from a boneless arm. And as the second one wraps against you as well, the whole thing engulfs your form.
Gross.
This boneless creature, just rotten flesh and cloth, to the point where you are blind and unable to breathe.
Evie says,
And you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage from being crushed.
Okay.
The good news is the other one now cannot attack you because you are... In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do this.
Ah.
I was waiting to see if they do that.
There's a light source on top of them. Oh,
Everything's
That's
so
my
difficult.
familiar. So my familiar, I guess, is also absorbed, or
No,
He
just you. It was,
shunted?
it was attacking you, not your familiar.
okay.
Then this one is going to enter Orson's threat range.
All right.
And this one's going to be able to make one step closer. The other one is already... That's as far as he goes.
That is a 16 on die for Orson, and I don't have his thing in front of me, so give me 1 second.
It's my 16 hit, so I'm sure he'll hit.
Right, but I need to know damages and stuff. So that's 16 plus, like, that's plus 10, so it's like 26. to
That
hit.
hits. Mm-hmm.
been like 6 months since we looked at his stat block.
And he's got...
It's been like 6 months since it got updated.
It got updated last time.
No, it
that
didn't. I
did.
forgot.
Mhm.
But I did update it before this session. It's up to date now.
1 plus 5. So it's 6 points of piercing damage.
Okay. And that's his
Reaction.
reaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably won't be able to hit Orson, but let's give it a try.
Okay.
I have a 16 to hit
No,
and a 9 to hit.
no.
Yes, the thing just thumps uselessly against Orson's armor. And that's it for black tokens. Who's next?
Got Orson with Genie on deck.
All right. Orson, I guess, is just going to go straight for Evie with his attacks. Does Orson have multi-hit yet? I forget what level he is. He's level 6.
He's level
isn't
7, so he ought to.
Oh yeah.
The first pinned thing in the channel.
It's in his
That's,
stat block.
Yes.
He has extra
that's a
attack.
16 to hit.
16 will hit.
For 11 points of magic. No, excuse me, 12 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
And it is bloodied.
And then second hit is 27 to hit
Also hits.
for 8. And then the butt.
Well, he doesn't need the butt, because that's enough to kill this one. Now, he can step forward and use the butt. This one's around the corner within his range.
Uh-huh.
Orson, well, if he's going to attack the one in front of him, he's going to have to make the attack without knowing what's going to happen. He no longer has an action to use as a perception.
So question
Mhm.
is how visible is Evie? Is she
Not at
completely-
all. The thing has completely
all.
got her wrapped up. She's inside this mass of rotting flesh and cloth.
Right.
And you can't even hear her making noises, just muffled from inside.
All right. Yeah, he's gonna swing the butt on
Okay.
the one engulfing Evie.
He's
I don't
got a
think-
7 intelligence. It's
I
expected.
don't think he would do anything more complicated than that. That's 22 to hit.
22 will hit.
How much damage do I take?
That's 7 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
Oh, the first 2 hits weren't bludgeoning because they're his spear, but the butt is
Right,
bludgeoning.
yes.
Okay.
The butt
Yeah.
is bludgeoning.
Okay. Evie, take 3 points of bludgeoning damage. As you feel the impact of the back of Orson's spear just crack against your ribcage directly through this creature. And I mean, you can hear Evie let out a muffled grunt of pain. Is Orson moving or staying put?
Orson is going to stay right here for
Okay.
now.
Got Genie with Evie on deck.
Okay, so I have 30 feet of light. What do I see down this way?
Yeah, let me get my lens of truth.
Revealotron.
The Revealotron.
All right, cool.
Try not to knock over my guys if I can
Yeah.
help it. But yeah, there's one coming up the hall behind you here.
All right, let's see.
The Revealotron. We usually keep it stored next to the Upamajigger.
Genie is going to see how flammable these guys are.
Okay.
By shooting this one.
Sure.
I don't like. I'm hesitant at hearing that Evie take damage. I'm hesitant to set that one on fire.
It might be fun though.
No, I'm hesitant to. No, I have decided I'm going to be hesitant to set it on fire.
Okay.
All right, so that is a 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, so I need 2d10s plus a d8. I am going to use a charge of my earring to maximize this to an 8. So that's 8, 9, and 7 damage for a total of 24 fire damage
Nice.
on this guy right here.
And it is badly bloodied as his body smolders and convulses under the damage, but it does not stop moving towards you.
Okay. And protector turret's going to hop off, and it's going to try impulse to give Evie.
Evie's behind total cover. Does it still work behind total cover?
I think it just says I will verify before we.
You cannot see her.
Make
and she's behind total cover.
The damage is a burst of energy that grants itself in each creature of your choice within 10 feet.
No, she's definitely within 10 feet, and she's still a creature for now.
Yep. For now. Evie.
Yep.
12 temp hit points.
Excellent. Thank you.
I've got Evie with Ekon on deck.
All right, so I am blind and I cannot breathe. Yes,
Correct.
but I can still move.
No, you're being grappled. You have 0 speed.
Okay. I guess that leaves me with no choice but to, I guess, flail randomly at the thing that's grappling with me.
You can attack the monster. You could also attempt to escape the grapple as an action.
My strength is terrible.
You
Can I use something?
You can use your dex acrobatics.
Okay, I would much rather use that. Yes.
Okay.
I will try to do that. That's my action, though,
That's
right?
an action.
Okay. That's gonna do more good than I think trying to stab myself with a dagger. My acrobatics is. This is probably the first time I've ever used acrobatics. Oh, that's an 8.
An 8? I mean, you struggle, and at first it feels like you'll be able to slip this skin and cloth off of you and shimmy underneath, but no matter which way you turn or twists, it tightens up on you. You find yourself struggling futilely. That's it. Who's next? Unless you've got a bonus action.
I think my bonus action, I guess... No, they can't hear me, can they? I'm just muffled.
They cannot hear you.
Okay, so I don't think I can grant advantage to anyone.
You can say...
You say...
Exactly.
Person's like, that was a very inspiring and insightful.
I really enjoyed that mumble. That got me
Okay,
there.
so that's Ekon with Edmont on deck.
Evie invents mumble rap in Ravenloft.
Ekon will move to here, and then I'm going to need the creature to give me a DC 15 strength saving throw as Ekon tries to telekinetically yank it off.
The one that's grappling Evie?
Yeah.
It's a strength saving throw? That's a 14.
Alright, gets pulled 5 feet.
Yep. And I mean, Evie, you just feel this thing pulled away from your body. And for a moment, it just looks like a flap of useless skin and cloth. But as soon as it lands in the space next to you, it kind of recongeals into a vaguely human shape.
I assume it smells horrific.
Oh, yeah. You're going to need a shower later.
Yeah.
And then
Evie
I'm going
considers
to,
vomiting, but she decides she's going to wait till after they're done killing it.
Sure.
then I'm going to go ahead and cast a Sacred Flame targeting it, so I'm going to need a DC 15 Dexterity saving throw.
And one of those is a cantrip, yes?
One of those was an action. Bonus action. It's not a spell.
Oh, it's not a spell. It's just... Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you said dexterity saving throw? That's a 16.
Yeah, 15. Alright. These things are too fast for my Sacred Flames to hit. That's the end of my turn. We've got Edmont with Victor on deck.
Edmont, fix it.
I'm going to try to fix it by punching it. Oh, that's a nat 1.
Mm-hmm.
Second attack. That's a nat 2.
Getting better.
Key point, flurry of blows.
Okay. That's a bonus action, yes?
Yep. That is a 20 to hit.
20 to
Dirty
hit.
20.
It's a dirty 20. It's a naughty, naughty 20.
Bad 20.
Exactly. Looking at 7 points bludgeoning damage, and Dark Powers want this thing to make a dexterity or a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. You guys are making them make all the saves. That's a 12 on the save.
It is stunned until the end of my next turn.
It is stunned. I'm going to flip and lock him to indicate that.
As such. Then my next flurry is going to get advantage on him.
Yep. Well, the next hit from the same flurry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a 18 to hit.
18 will hit.
9 points bludgeoning damage from that.
And you're a
second
high
hit.
enough level monk for your punches to be magical. Is that correct?
Yep, correct.
That's enough for him. You stun him, and then you find just the right spot to punch, and the thing slumps to the floor and moves no more. Are you moving or staying
Good.
put?
I am going to move to cover Victor.
Okay.
Actually,
Got,
no.
oh.
I can't get to Genie in this turn. So yeah, covering Victor.
Got Victor with Black Goo on deck.
Black goo on deck.
I'm a little hardier than Victor anyway.
Alright, so I noticed that Lux is on my shoulder.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Lux needs to be by the enemy for me to get advantage from him, doesn't he?
You don't get advantage, but you can do sneak attacks by having things next to you. So yes.
Don't forget you also have your bonus action to give yourself advantage.
Yes. Well, my bonus action needs to be used for something else first. Okay, so if Lux will let me do sneak attack, then I suppose Victor will stay where he's at for the moment.
Well, no, you need an ally within 5 feet of your target to do sneak attack.
And that's what I thought, yeah. So, in that case, Victor is going to go support Evie.
If you were to go melee one of these guys, you would get advantage because Lux is within 5 feet of the target.
Yeah, let's be honest, Victor's not going to do that.
I mean, it comes up. That's why Lux hangs out on your shoulder.
Victor is going to be like, Evie, I'm coming! I'm going to save you!
Tell it.
And so he's going to bonus action Hunter's Mark on Mr. Boneless.
Okay.
And then he's going to attack.
It seems like these things don't like fire. Just throwing that out there. Light didn't work, but fire might.
They're just too fast for my spells.
Is a
Curving
14
around.
hit by chance?
14
water.
does hit.
Oh, yay.
Oh, do they have Zombo AC?
Not quite that bad, no.
They don't have bones, but they seem to have pretty good sinews.
Hey, you know what? They don't have bones.
Zombocom is bitter, EC.
They don't have bones. I don't have blood. Maybe we can team up and be a whole person.
I don't think you want these guys' blood. Smells bad. Gross.
I mean, we could just keep the blood in the workshop in a barrel.
So for what it's worth, that's 24 points of psionic damage.
24 against the one south of Evie here.
Yes.
Okay, it is badly bloodied.
Yeah, I don't think they're weak to fire.
And Victor,
Well, this was
moving or
damage.
staying put?
He will stay put.
Okay.
We've got Black Goo with Orson on deck.
All right. Well, we'll start with Evie. Well, here, I'll move everybody into place. Well, no, I'm going to start with Evie, just in case I can attack her twice. Actually, he's not exiting any threat ranges. He can go get Victor. This one can come get Evie.
Can they move through our spaces?
They sure can.
Rude.
Gross.
Orson's aware of that one, though.
Orson can use his reaction on this one if he likes.
Yeah. I mean, can he use it? He can also use it on this one, can he?
Yeah, you're right.
You
Yep.
can use it on one of them, but not both of them.
I know. Oh wow, I am surrounded. This is not good.
No.
Orson is going to use his reaction on the one that's attacking Evie,
Okay,
because that's where he's. That's direct. Reasoning is that's the direction he's facing.
that's fine.
19 to hit.
19 will hit.
That is it's 10 points of magical piercing damage.
Okay. Yeah, these things, they slither directly around Evie. They almost make that same motion, you know, like when you're passing by somebody in like a tight space, like on an airplane or like at a theater or something. Except they don't have any bones, so they're really good at it. They have no difficulty moving through your space.
Elastigirl at the beginning of The Incredibles.
Yeah.
They're not stretchy, though. They're just boneless.
I just picture like every time they move, it's the sound of slapping chicken, like a chicken, like chicken breast.
Gross. Let's start with Victor. That's 2 2s. Victor, that's not going to hit.
A 2 is not going to hit now.
Evie.
That's me.
I have a 15 to hit
15 hits.
and a nat 20.
That definitely hits.
Okay, so the first slam attack is going to be 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
Uh-huh.
The critical hit is going to be 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Now, I'm not blinded when that hits. I can use reaction to have that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I take 9 total.
Okay, and then you're immediately blinded because after the second hit, you are engulfed.
Okay.
And immediately take the crushing damage. So 4 points of bludgeoning damage after being engulfed.
I'm really glad Jeannie put that barrier up.
Edmont, you're not dodging up there, are you?
No, I'm not.
I doubt I'll be able to hit you because monks are crazy. I've got an 8 to hit
Nope.
and a 20.
Roll that 20 again if it can be blinded.
It can be blinded. That turns it into a 10.